Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm back with another unit review video, and this time around we're going to be looking at quite a well loved, quite a versatile and well established melee unit, but I don't actually see a lot of people playing them nowadays. So I'm going to go over, review them, and then give you the bottom line of whether you need to be trying to unlock these guys in the current season. So we're going to be looking at tonight the Azaps. To get the Azaps, you need to go to Season 4, the Blood of the Empire, which are the Ottoman units, and they are the Tier 4 unit of that season. So first you need to do the Janissaries, unlock the Janissaries, then you'll be able to unlock the Azaps. Now the Azaps, they come with a very small buckler and then a kind of saber, scimitar kind of sword. These guys are very, very good, I have to say. As not a lover of melee infantry units, these guys, I have to say, are always in my warband if I'm having to take in melee units. These guys are very versatile. They can take a lot of damage. They can also put out a lot of damage as well, and their skills are very unique. No other unit has the skills that these guys do. These guys are very, very useful in certain circumstances. So going into the unit details, they were the Season 4, the Ottoman unit, melee unit for Tier 4, which kind of goes to show you how what they're going to be kind of looking against. So they're going to be equivalent to things like paladins and things like that. So the first unit trait is the unit takes 12% less damage while its orders are active. Obviously any defense, doctrines or anything like that will increase this as well, because that's 12% on their base defense. If you've got unit doctrines in defense, that will obviously increase. Strong resolve, unit gains a temporary defensive buff if it climbs up a ladder. Very, very good for climbing ladders and getting up onto castle walls, especially in sieges, because these guys obviously have that buff. Plus as well, actually, you can use a couple of their different unit orders to do a lot of damage very, very quickly. Fire resistant and shield bearers as well. Two different formations. The formation you're usually always going to be using is the column formation. Not great in urban settings, but very good in the steppe and the desert. Everywhere else they're okay, so they haven't got any great terrain effects, although to be honest at the minute I don't think the terrain effects kind of really matter too much for units in the game. Health is 7,000, that's okay. They've got 28 dudes in one unit. 240 leadership, which I think is 10. I think that's 10 more than the paladins, so it's very equivalent to the paladins. Speed is 5.5, which is okay. Their damage is not the best, but when you use these guys properly, when you use these guys in their unit orders properly, they are very, very good. Their defense as well, slashing defense is good. Piercing defense is okay. Their blunt defense is very, very poor. So against things like Reapers wielding the flails or the Tesserics, these guys are going to really suffer against those kinds of units. But against sword using units, these guys can hold their own pretty well. So they've got 3 unit orders. The first is the charge, which is their shield rush. So obviously they're going to go charging in, do a load of initial damage and get right up in close and personal with an enemy. 2 is counter strike. Once you learn how to use this ability, honestly it is an amazing ability to use. Now what I find is actually use the charge and then go straight into counter strike, because as units are then trying to defend against the Azaps, trying to do a lot of damage towards the Azaps, if these guys then do their counter strike ability, it becomes a bit of a parry, and it can does take a lot of people by surprise very, very quickly. So many times I've had a few different heroes actually try and take on my Azaps. Just pop this ability after using their charge, and every time the Azaps come up on top, they are very, very good when their abilities are used properly. As far as I'm aware as well, there is no other unit in the game with this counter strike ability either. It is a very quick parry unit, parry strike, and it does turn the tide against spear users especially. So even for Brashios, they can actually use this counter strike to get up close and personal to those units, which is very, very useful in the circumstances. 3 is on watch, where once they are up and close and personal with another unit, you pop this ability and they will then do a very strong attack straight away against that unit, whoever they are fighting there and then. Very, very good, useful unit. So I'm just going to go down the tree and show you the doctrines that I'm currently using for these guys. Obviously I haven't unlocked their purple doctrine yet, but I've got a bit of block. I've got mainly damage on these guys. I do have a little bit of defense as well, just to kind of give them that little bit more sustainability when they are in that melee fight, but most of them are damage with the extra block and a little bit of extra piercing damage. And then going down the veterancy, I've gone down all the top line, which is actually about their counter strike ability, because I have found this is the more useful ability. Going down this one, it's going down the bottom line is more about their third ability, their on watch ability, but personally I think counter strike is more useful as an ability for the Azaps, so that is the way I've gone. Plus this one as well, it actually stops them being knocked down when using counter strike, which is very, very powerful when used properly. And the unit right at the end of this top line actually has the ability to initiate counter strike even without that ability being popped, which is very, very useful. Same with on watch as well, but again on watch is just that one very powerful strike which can turn the tide of battle, but I feel personally the Azaps really shine with their counter strike ability. I believe and I feel from playing these guys quite a fair bit that actually this is by far their best ability. So I've tried to buff up their damage with the Doctrines, but I've also kind of given them a little bit of extra defense in their Doctrines as well. Definitely makes a big difference for the health and stuff. As you can see, at level 30 we've gone from 7,000 up to 12,000, which is a huge jump. We've increased that defense up a little bit, we've increased the damage up a little bit as well. These guys are very, very good, and personally I think you will not be disappointed by unlocking these guys and giving these guys a go. Now, the Azaps are very reliant on their abilities. They are an ability using unit. Once their abilities are off, they can get overwhelmed very, very quickly. It is all about popping those abilities at the right time and then tactfully withdrawing them out of battle so they're not involved in sustained melee, where actually they are going to get walked over a little bit by blunt users especially, but also paladins I think will probably have a one-up on them just because of paladin's survivability. I believe they are going to outmatch Azaps in toe-to-toe melee. But if you are using that counter strike ability, if you're using that on watch ability as well, and you're popping them each time actually they both become available, Azaps I think will take a unit of paladins on pretty easily. Their real saving grace though is actually breaching siege towers, or siege walls, sorry, going up the ladders, where they actually take that less amount of damage. Once they get up to the top, pop their counter strike ability, and that should give you a good foothold on those walls to actually breach those walls and then get that win in siege battles. Some houses I know very, very heavily favour the Azaps in territory wars, and for good reason as well. I personally, when I have used them in territory wars, have found that they always perform very, very well, and actually they are quite underutilized these days. I wish I'd see them a little bit more often, but hopefully after this video we will see them out a little bit more often. Thank you very much for watching, folks. I hope you enjoyed this one. As always, let me know down in the comments below what unit you want me to be looking at next week, next Sunday. I'm also going to be posting the winners of the competition down in the comments below, so take a look at that. If you entered the competition last Sunday, take a look at that, and the names will be down there in the comments below. Let me know your comments on the Azaps though. Do you like them? Do you not like them? Let me know the reasons why. Hit that like button, hit that sub button, share this video around, all that lovely fan-dooby-tastic stuff, and I hope to catch you out on the battlefield.